Mr. Dulles, in withdrawing the offer, issued a statement saying he had no confidence in the Egyptian economy and implicitly in the Egyptian regime, in Nasser. And Nasser considered it a great insult.
I was surprised by the insultive attitude which the refusal was declared. Not by the refusal itself, but the insultive attitude, and which meant humiliation, because they said that the refusal was because of our financial situation and the economy and so on.
Dulles' calculation was that that would bring down Nasser. And of course, it was greeted with total dismay in Egypt when the news came out. But Nasser, being the sort of man he was, hit back.
Nasser, humiliated and furious, decided to rid Egypt of foreign influence once and for all. He called his closest allies together in a secret meeting to plot an audacious new way to finance the dam.
Nasser said, I'm going to nationalize the Suez Canal Company. He said the revenue would finance the building of the dam. I said it was a masterstroke, but would be controversial. But he said he had made up his mind.
In an operation codenamed Dignity and Glory, Egyptian troops would seize the offices of the Suez Canal Company. Nasser would trigger the action during a speech to the nation.
He said, in my speech I will raise objections to the Suez Canal and how it was built. The code word between us is de lesseps. When I say de lesseps, you start implementing nationalization. Is that clear? Clear, sir. Go. What's required now is secrecy, secrecy, secrecy.
The significance of the choice of code word was not lost on his collaborators. De lesseps was the French engineer who had first built the canal in 1869.
If we fail in nationalizing the Suez Canal, then Egypt would lose the Suez Canal forever. So we were honored from one side, but on the other hand, we were worried.
Nasser had other considerations, some of them selfish. One of them, the selfish one, was he wanted to promote himself to enhance his standing in the Arab world as a nationalist leader.
At Manshir Square in Alexandria, Nasser began his speech. It was to last for 3 hours. It was an anxious wait for the men listening on the radio for the code word to set off for the Suez Canal Company headquarters.
Waiting for President Nasser saying the secret word de lesseps was a hell of a period. His speech before saying this word seems like a century. But once he said it, the three groups started moving to their directives in either Ismailia, Port Said or Suez.
I was trembling not from fear but with joy. I felt that we were entering into the realization of a very big goal that was a dream. And that dream was being achieved, regardless of the consequences that may follow.
They stormed into the Suez Canal Company, explaining to the staff there that they were taking over.
We said, it is not confiscation, it is nationalization. It was a moment I will never forget.
We listened to the speech, and he made a wonderful speech. He said, I tried everything. He spoke in a colloquial Arabic, He said, I went to the Americans and I asked them for a loan. I went to the World Bank, I asked them for a loan to build the dam because our population is growing so quickly. We will need electricity, we will need sources of energy. And they refused. And so I found myself without any means. The only thing I could do was nationalize what we have, what is in our country right here.
Nasser finished his speech by announcing that the canal was being reclaimed in the name of the people. The vast crowd went wild, shouting. National radio carried this speech across the Arab world.
My colleagues and I couldn't control ourselves and threw the microphones down. We hugged each other, as did the thousands who were in the crowd in Alexandria.
I felt that something that belonged to Egypt had been restored. My real feeling at the time was one of national pride.
I want you to call in all the chiefs of staff. Tell them that to come at once. And we'll need the French ambassador and the American chargé d'affaires just as soon as they can make it.
The shock was tremendous. The sense of great crisis was immediate.
Eden was hosting an official dinner at Downing Street in honor of King Faisal of Iraq when he heard the news.
I want you to know, and I think the opposition should know too, what Nasser has done tonight. He has made a speech announcing that he's going ahead with the Aswan Dam, and in order to finance it, Egypt is taking over the Suez Canal Company.
What are you going to do?
I have asked the American chargé d'affaires to come at once, and the French ambassador. This is an international crisis. I think we should take it to the Security Council.
Yes, and supposing Nasser doesn't take any notice?
Well, I suppose in that case the old-fashioned ultimatum will be necessary.
Well, look, you should act quickly, whatever you do. And as far as Great Britain is concerned, you'll almost certainly have public opinion behind you. But you will have to get the Americans into line.
The Egyptian people and all the Arab peoples had opened the door to a new destiny for the Arab nation. My very strong feeling is that we cannot allow Nasser to get away with this. We must not allow him to have his hand on our windpipe. How quickly can we capture the canal?
I'm afraid an adequate force for the invasion of Egypt. We could not put an operation together like this in less than 6 or 7 weeks.
I was instructed between 51 and 53 to prepare a paper on what we should do if the Egyptian government unilaterally nationalized the Suez Canal. And I consulted the legal advisors, and they came down with the view that the Egyptians had every right under international law to nationalize the canal, always provided two things. One, that they gave proper compensation to the shareholders, of whom we were one, and secondly, that they observed a free transit through the canal for ships of all nations. This paper was fed into Eden at his first meeting after nationalization. And he took one look at this paper, glanced through the conclusions, and said, "This is no fucking good," and chucked it across the room. And this suggests that he was disposed to the use of force, really, more or less from the beginning.
Eden, set on reclaiming the canal at any price, was about to embark on a gamble that would take the nation to war and cost him his career.
Colonel Nasser's action has presented us with an opportunity to find a lasting settlement of this problem, and we should not hesitate to take advantage of it. The fundamental question before us is whether we are prepared, in the last resort, to pursue our objective by the threat or even the use of force, and whether we are ready, in default of assistance to the United States or France, to take military action alone